In this lesson, we're going to walk you through the incredibly valuable data that Amazon gives you on your business within their own reporting system. And we're also going to cover a daily tracking spreadsheet that you can use to help manage and grow your business. And this spreadsheet is the exact same spreadsheet that Jason himself has developed over the past year and uses to manage his business. Now, one thing you probably want to know is why is it so important to know your numbers and to pay attention to these reports? And the reason is you're here to build a real, successful, long-term business. And one quality that you'll find in most successful businesses is that they constantly strive to understand everything they can about their own business and the market they operate within. This includes how well their sales are going, how they're performing compared to their competitors, which marketing strategies are or not working, how efficiently they are managing their inventory, and countless other aspects of the business. Now, while many companies struggle and spend a lot of time and money to try and develop a reporting system, Amazon makes it incredibly easy for us. They've given us all these reports right inside of Seller Central. Unfortunately, most Amazon sellers either aren't familiar with them or just choose not to use them, which can be a big mistake and can lead them to make incorrect business decisions or not make decisions at all. But knowing your numbers is critical to growing your business, and it'll give you the information that you need to turn your business into $1 million a year machine. This lesson will cover some of the more important reports that you have available to you, and will help explain which ones are the most valuable, what information you can get from them, when you might want to use them, and what decisions you can make using each one. Now, the first set of reports that we'll go over are the business reports, and you access those from Seller Central by clicking on Reports and then Business Reports. And by default, this will bring up the sales dashboard. And I can tell you without a doubt that this will very quickly become your very favorite report and maybe even very favorite site on the internet. As your sales start to get going and really ramp up, you will find yourself on here refreshing it multiple times every hour, as every other ASM member will attest to. But other than being a great report to see how you're doing that day, it also can give you some very valuable information that's more than just a snapshot of what's going on that day. So first off, today is Tuesday, June the 11th. This is fresh live data right now. It'll tell you exactly what time the report is accurate of. So this is as of 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. So that's important to note, is that all the times on this report are given in Amazon's time zone, which is Pacific time. So it'll tell you the total number of orders received, the total units. So I've had 55 only on 49 orders, means we've had some multiple products sold on each order. The total number of product sales. This does not take into account any discounts that you've offered or promotions. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that if you're having a big promotion, this is off of the actual price of your product that it's going for without someone using a coupon on it. So that's important to keep in mind. The average number of units you're selling per order, and then the average sales price per order. Now down here, these graphs are great for comparing your sales over time. So this left graph is the number of units, so the number of products you sold, and then the right graph will be the total sales dollars for those units. So they both show the same information. One is just in dollars, one is in units. So I'll cover the first one here, and it'll be applicable for the second one. Now, if you'll notice that as you hover over these reports, the numbers that they give you start changing within there. And what they're doing is they're actually comparing where you're at that point in time to where you were yesterday, the same day last week, and the same day last year. So it's pretty cool to kind of get an idea of exactly where you were at previous points in time, so that you might start seeing and understanding some trends within your business. What days of the week sell better, what or worse. Maybe how you've grown over the past couple of months or years, and how you were doing at the same time last year. Now, I'll take these off here. It's pretty easy to take those off and see a little bit more on here, because it can be cluttered. But as you can see now, I'm just only showing my current sales today. But if I wanted to see where I was last year at the same day, I click on that, and as you can see, nothing was added here, because I didn't make any sales last year on this day. I just launched our products, and I think I'd only sold a couple at this point in time, but on this day, didn't sell any. But let's look at last week now, on today, Wednesday of last week. And there you can see now the yellow one starts showing us what I actually did that day. Also, you can tell that you ended the day last week with 72 units and just over 1,900 in sales. Now let's look at yesterday. You can add that in, and as you can see, yesterday we had an even better day. 84 units ended up at almost 2,400 sales. But it's really interesting to see how you can compare your current day to previous points in time to start seeing, what days or what hours maybe even you start selling at. For me, after 4 a.m. is when sales start picking up, and then usually after around 8 or 9 p.m. is when they start dropping off. Probably pretty typical for most Amazon customers. You may be different. I do find that for since we're selling products in two different categories, one of them tends to get more people early in the morning, and one tends to get more people later at night. So you might start seeing the same kind of trends. And on that note, you'll notice at the bottom that they actually will break your sales out by product category. So if you are selling in multiple categories, you'll see them broken out on here. The only thing that this report is missing that I know everyone wants to see are your sales by product. So if you're selling for more than one product, all of the sales in these charts and these numbers are combined for all your products, so you won't be able to break those out. That's the only downside here. Now, you can very easily filter the report to any date range you want. It automatically shows you what you're doing today, but you can go ahead and look at the week to date. After you do that, you always have to hit apply. Then you can also do month to date, year to date, and a custom date range where you can go in and apply any date range you want. Let's say you wanted to look and see how you were doing last month at this point. So for the first 11 days of the month for this month, how did you do for the first 11 days of the month last month? Those are the kinds of information you can get out of this report. Now let's go look at some of the other business reports that are available to us here. And you can access those by going to the left-hand side of the screen. Of course, there's a sales dashboard that we're on. But below that, you'll see 3 reports that are by date, and then several reports that are by ASIN. So the by date reports will take all of your products and summarize your sales data by day. By ASIN is exactly what it says. It's going to take your data and then break things down, not by day, but by your products. You can see exactly how each product is doing. So first, let's go up there and look at the by date reports. There's the sales and traffic report, which is the high-level overview about how your products are doing each and every day. And then I'm going to go to the very next one, the detail page, sales and traffic, because it's basically the same report, but it gives you a little bit more information. So you'll see again, by date, a lot of the same fields here, your total overall product sales, number of products sold, number of orders sold, which will be less or equal to the number of units sold. And then it's going to go over what are called page views and sessions. A page view is anytime a person visits your product detail page, and if a person visits it 3 times that day, it's going to count as 3 page views. A session, however, would give you the same information, but if the same person visits it 3 times, it's only going to count it 1 time because you really want to get a better understanding of how often you're converting that customer, not just how often you're converting someone who visits your page if it's the same person looking at it again. The buy box percentage is how often your product has the buy box. Don't be terribly concerned if your number is not exactly 100 all the time. Sometimes that's completely normal. You may have some other products that Amazon may be selling one of your used products. It happens usually very, very quickly if a customer returns it and they want to sell an open box product. That'll happen, and sometimes Amazon will get the buy box. If you see your number dropping below 90% or so, that could be a sign that someone else is selling your product. You might want to look into that. Now, over here, they start giving you some percentages that are oftentimes considered conversion rates. So that's how often someone visits your product and ends up buying it, which is a really, really important number. You'll see a lot of people that know what they're doing will tell you that your conversion rate is critical to how well you rank your product as far as certain search terms, and that's absolutely correct. So you want to pay attention to this, and you always want to make sure that your conversion rate or unit session percentage is as high as possible. So one thing to look for trends. So you'll see that it's never the same number. It kind of varies anywhere between 7.5% up towards 10, maybe 11%. Maybe was a real good day, 13%. You just want to keep track of that. And if you start seeing some days where it gets really low, like for example, here we had some really low conversion rates, and I might want to look into that and find out exactly what was going on that day. But then after that, things start going up again, and we've actually been on a really good trend where we're having conversion rates well over 10%, upwards towards 12%, and I think we're going to be moving up there. This report will give you an idea of exactly how you're moving with that metric. However, one thing people don't know about this report and any other report under the business reports is that you can add other pieces of information. And to do that, simply scroll over to the right-hand side of the screen, and you'll see all the different columns or different metrics you have available to you. So, for example, a great one that I like to look at would be units refunded and refund rate. This is going to tell you if you have any product defect issues. So do you have a lot of people returning a product? Is it getting worse? Maybe you got a new batch in, and you'll want to check and find out, does your latest inventory order is it getting refunded more than your first one was? That could be a sign of a product defect. So by clicking on those, they automatically refreshes your report, and it's going to show you that. So you'll see by day how many units were refunded and what percentage that was of all the products you sold that day. And then of course, what this report also does is, in addition to giving you daily numbers, at the bottom, it's always going to give you a summarized version of that. So whatever time period, we're looking at the last 30 days, here is our overall percentage of a refund rate. Here are the total number of units refunded. Here are, our average unit percentage rate or conversion rate, total sales, total number of sales, total number of orders. It gives you a real nice snapshot. And the reason I mention that is because that's going to help you see trends. So if you know over the past 30 days, your unit session percentage is 9.71%, then it's nice to look at your last couple days and see how you're doing. There I'm 12%, 10.3%, 9%, 10%, 11%. I'm definitely on an upward trend, which is a good thing. If you see the opposite, it means that you're not converting as well, and you want to look in to see exactly what those reasons are. Now, let's go back over and look at some of the other reports. Those are the ones that are by date. And let's start looking at the by ASIN. Now, these may not be incredibly important to you if you only have one product, but as soon as you start selling more than one product, you definitely want to start looking at each product and how it's performing individually. Now, the next reports over here are the by ASN reports, and that really is by product. And the main one that you'll end up using most likely is the detail page sales and traffic. The other two below it, one is for the parent item, one is for child. If you have products with what are called variations, so they have different sizes or different colors, that'll give you a way to easily break down how each variation or size or color is doing, and you can also look at them combined together by looking at the parent item. But they all show the basics information, so I'll just go over the detail page sales and traffic and tell you what I use it for. Now, as you can see here, this doesn't break down your data into dates. So it's going to tell you for the entire date range, so for the last 30 days, May 11th through June 11th, how did each individual product perform? And it'll give you the number of sessions, session percentage, page views percentages. Now, an important thing to know is these numbers here, the page view percentage and session percentage, those aren't conversion rates. Those are for everything that you're selling, for all the products you're selling, which ones are getting the most views by the customers. So as you can see here, this product gets almost 6% of our customers looking at it. This one gets over 30%. So for these two products, that's where 90% of our sales and customers are coming from. And then if you added these all up, they go down to 100%. Now, what I tend to use this report for is looking at the unit session percentage, which is basically the conversion rate. That's going to tell you per product how you're doing as far as, how well you're converting your customers. Over this time period, this product here is selling just, converting just over 10%. This one is converting just about 8.5%. That's over the past 30 days. So if you want to see how you're trending or how you're doing for the past, let's say 4 days, you just need to change the date range. So instead of May 11th, let's start this and look at it Sunday, June the 8th. And you'll notice that 10.18 went up to almost 10.5. And that one that was about 8.5 went up to 10.3%. That tells me, especially here, I've made some great strides in that product. We're converting it almost, 1.75, maybe 2% higher than what we were before. And that is pure money, exact same money you're spending on advertising or traffic, whatever it is, you're just getting almost 2% more sales. So this report here is a great report to use when you want to figure out how you're doing as far as converting your customers when they get to your product page. Now, I've covered the couple of reports that I use and think are the most valuable, but of course there are other reports here. Feel free to check them out and see exactly what you can get out of them. Sometimes these reports just tell you information in a slightly different format, and you may prefer that format, so by all means check them out. Also, if you want to learn more about the different terms that Amazon uses, such as sessions, session percentage, page views, etc., click on the Learn More link at the top, and that'll pull up a sheet that not only tells you about the business reports in general, but goes over all those different terms so you know exactly what they mean. But now let's head on over and start looking at the inventory reports by clicking on Reports and then Fulfillment. Now, the Amazon Fulfillment Reports will list out a whole bunch of different reports on the left-hand side, all broken down by section. Inventory reports, there are sales reports, and these are more sales transaction reports. So if you're looking to download a listing of every order made over a certain period of time, or download a listing of every shipment made over a certain period of time, that's where you go to get these reports. They're not the same type of sales reports we just looked at under the business reports. Then there are payment reports, customer concessions, and then removal reports. We're going to go over a couple reports here, the ones that I think are the most important for you to get started with, but by all means, feel free to check out all the reports that are listed over here. The first report I want to go over is the inventory health report. And if you look over here, you don't actually see it because it's shown only when you click on the Show More. When you do that, then you'll see the inventory health report. Now, for every report on this screen, you'll notice there are two different types. The first one is the viewing online, where you just see the report listed out straight on your screen. And the next option, if you like this, refer this, is to get a download of it. So all you do is click on the download tab and then click on the request download. And Amazon will submit that report to report system, and it'll start generating it. And it'll actually notify you once the report is ready. And then you can download it and paste it into your spreadsheet application and do all types of filtering and sorting, or maybe just saving that data for future. Now, as you can see here, the report actually is ready for download if I want to download it. And I also got a notification up at the top saying the report is ready. But for this lesson, we're just going to go ahead and view the data online because it's a lot easier to see it right on the screen. So here we're looking at the inventory health report. And one important thing to know about this report and most of the reports in this section is that they are up to date as of whenever you generate them. So for this report, for example, when you generate the inventory health report, it tells you the current status and health of your inventory at that point in time. Now, there are several different useful pieces of information here. However, I find the most useful thing for this report is to use it to determine when you need to reorder so you don't run out of inventory. And to do that, I look at a couple things. One, I look at the total sellable quantity, which tells you exactly for each product how many you have available for sale. Then I go over and look at the number of units that were shipped in the past 30 days. And then Amazon does the math for you and says, based upon those two numbers, here are how many weeks we think that you have of inventory before you run out. So for here, for example, we have 11 more weeks. Here are 7, and down here, look at 5. And when I start seeing things around 5 or 6 weeks, and knowing what my lead time is, that's when I start to get concerned and realize that I better have already placed an order, especially if you're sourcing from overseas, where you have maybe a 30-day manufacturing lead time, and then you have to factor in how long it takes to get shipped in. You really want to make sure that you pay attention to this report and do everything you can not to run out of inventory. Now, of course, it's going to happen to everyone, early on especially. It's going to happen once, twice, maybe 3 times or more, because managing inventory is very difficult when you're just starting off and you don't know what your sales are going to be. So if that happens, that's okay. But the important thing here is you start tracking it, you start managing it, you start getting better over time, because you don't want to run out of inventory, because that's simply losing potential sales and revenue you could be having. Now let's go look at the next report, the returns report, and you'll find that under customer concessions and returns. And you will notice that this report does have a time component to it, so you can see every single return that happened in the last day, 3 days, 7 days, and so forth. And when you do that, you just simply select the time frame and then hit generate. And there's 2 reasons that I use this report. One would be just to find out what's happening with our products. Are they being damaged a lot? You won't know if it's damaged during the shipment of it or whether it's from your manufacturer, but it will give you an idea of whether or not your products are having some kind of issues getting to the customers. The other reason is I want to find out actually what's going on with the customers and what kind of issues they're having, so that I can potentially cut off any bad reviews or feedback about the company and maybe even turn them into positive ones too. So over here you'll see the reason listed. Amazon does their best trying to give you the reason for the return, but as you can see here, they don't always push the customer for a reason. So the first one, which I love and you'll see pretty often, is the unknown reason. Don't be frustrated with that. Amazon does not push their customers to give them any reasons, because they want to make sure that customers are feeling as comfortable as possible buying from Amazon. And that's a good thing for all of us, because if a customer is confident and comfortable buying from Amazon, that means they're comfortable buying from us, and they don't have to worry ever about being hassled about not being able to return something. So in the end, this does work out better for us. But they will try to give you some other reasons. You'll see this one, product performance not up to expectations. Another one you'll see is defective, when a product didn't work at all when they got it. So that does give you a good idea of exactly what's going on with the products by the time they get to the customers. Now, like I mentioned here, if you find some customers on here, so this is a great way to take this report and turn it into a positive. look at what's happening to your customers, and then you can actually click on each order here, get that customer's name and contact information, and then reach out to them and try to make it right for them. A lot of these people here are unhappy with your product or your service or the shipment or whatever reason it is. They're unhappy and that's why they returned your product. But if you reach out to them and make personal contact with them, I guarantee you most of those people have never had that happen before, and you will turn them into a very happy person and potentially another happy customer. Happened to us today. We actually had a product that was returned and had a 1-star review on it, but by contacting the customer and offering to do whatever it took to take care of it, which was simply sending them a replacement at our cost, it turned them into a great customer, very happy, and we got a 5-star review out of it. So this report here is a good way to do that, to find people that are unhappy, you can reach out to, and give them the kind of customer service that they absolutely do not receive with other companies, and really set yourself apart from those companies. The next set of reports that we'll look at are the advertising reports. And you access those under Reports and then Advertising Reports. And the first report it pulls up to, out of the 5 that are available, is just a simple performance over time report. And this is just going to tell you for every day and all your campaigns that are actively running, how many clicks you received, what the average cost per click was, and then what your total spend was. Now, one way this is a good report to look at, you can see exactly how your average cost per click is trending. Is it staying around the same or is it going up? So for me, for example, looks like I have went up the past couple of days. That may be normal, it's not too high, but I can at least keep an eye on that and see if my average cost per clicks are going up and try to determine what the reason is. You can also look and see if your clicks are going down. Are you getting the same amount of traffic or less? Both those things tell you some information about whether or not there are other competitors out there bidding for the same keywords, maybe increasing their bids to get more traffic that you're not getting, or maybe it's just a factor of the fact that there wasn't as much traffic on Amazon that particular day. Now you can also adjust the date range for these reports by selecting the appropriate begin and start dates, and also whether you want to see the information by day, months, and years. Now the next report is called the Performance by SKU report, and I'm going to mention something about all 4 of the next reports. Each one of these does not run by itself. You have to tell Amazon that you want them to run these reports. They are not set up by default to run every day, and the way to do that is you, under each one of these reports, you'll see a schedule report section. Click on the edit button and then tell Amazon when you want them to run this report for you, every day, every week, or every month, and click submit. Once you do that, every day Amazon's going to go in, or whatever time frame you selected, and they'll run that report for you. And whether or not you want to see that report, you're ready to look at it now, it doesn't matter. It just makes sense to get these all set up, have Amazon run them so that you don't forget about it, and when you actually are running Amazon ads, you start accumulating this data so that you can go back and look and see how things are doing. So this particular report, I do have these all set up to run. It'll just go in there and run, and then you come in at any time you want, download any one of these reports by day, take a look at the information. For this one, it's going to tell you by SKU, so by your product, how well it's doing, how many clicks it received, what the average cost per click was, what the total spend was. So the other one we looked at was more everything combined. This one will be broken down by your product. Now, the next 3 reports we'll go over, I won't go in as much detail because these are fairly new. They're very, very powerful. They really help you tweak your Amazon ad campaigns. And Amazon's did a good job of explaining exactly how to use a report and when to use a report. So, for example, on the Bid by Keyword report, this report is going to tell you what your bid was for each keyword and then what the average winning bid was for that same keyword. And that's an incredibly powerful tool because that way you'll know if you're bidding too much or too little for your bids. And so let's say you're not getting the traffic that you want on your Amazon ads, and you want to know why. You can go in here and see exactly what are the winning people bidding. You may realize that you can up your bid by a nickel and start outbidding other people, and it's going to be a great story. Or you may realize that some people are bidding $2, $5, $10 just for a click, and it's not worth it because you know they're losing money. So this report here, it really gives you a good idea exactly what it is other people are winning are spending on their ads, and you can make a good informed decision whether or not you want to increase your bids or maybe lower them and adjust your whole ad strategy. The other reports are pretty similar. The other ASM report, this report is really useful too because it tells you every time someone clicked on your ad, what do they actually end up purchasing? So how powerful is that to know that if someone clicked on your ad but ended up buying a competitor, well, there's something about that competitor's product that you want to take a look at and you might want to incorporate with your product. So that's another really good report. And then the last one is the campaign performance report. This one is pretty basic. It's just going to tell you, allow you to look at the history of your campaigns for the past 60 days to see how they're doing. And Amazon actually explains over here some more information on what you might get out of that report. Now, that in no way covers all the reports that Amazon has available for you. I highly suggest that when you do have some time, you go out and at least take a cursory look at each one of these just to see what's out there. You may find some that are beneficial for you. Some of this is a personal preference thing, and some people like to see information presented a different way. So I would just check them out when you have a chance. We did, however, go over those that we felt were the most important, especially getting started with, and those that provide some core information that you'll want to keep track of and start using to monitor and manage your business in order to take it to the next level as quickly as possible. Now, this video did go way too long. It's not easy to go over these reports in detail. So in the next video, we're actually going to cover Jason's spreadsheet that he uses to manage his own business and that he actually populates each and every day with information that he's received from the reports that we just went over. That way he has an easily readable format, kind of a snapshot of how his business is running at any point in time.